This is Wolf from Tesla Owners US. I'm here in Fort Stockton and we are starting our tour. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning and they have quite some funny art here. So look at this. Oh, look at this. Yeah, we're gonna start here at 6 o'clock in the morning and we will be on our way shortly.
Hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. All the good times just begun. We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life.
So the last day and just something for what happened last night and what you have to consider at the destination charger. You want to leave with 100% from a destination charger, but that has put a lot of criteria. Basically, the criteria is, can I charge when I arrive at the destination? Now, I calculated, yes, I could charge when I arrive at 9:40 or so, then I would have enough to charge for the entire time. It was something at 9:20 in that range. So then I have about 9 hours to charge with 7 kilowatt. That should get me 100% when I'm arriving at 10% or 15% or so. Now, this didn't work out yesterday because I was 1.5 hours late. And that's a little bit of a problem because then you cannot continue, then you are not finished charging on the next morning and can start with 100%. So now I calculated how much that would be. 7 kilowatt, that usually when you go to charge point, then you said, oh, there's 7 kilowatt, some people are posting there 7 kilowatt charged it. So this car has 75 kilowatt, so you need about 10 hours at least to charge. Now I didn't have those 10 hours left. And a little bit less than 10 hours. So, and I didn't have those left. What I had to do then is in the next morning, I checked what is the next station after the charge. So the good thing is the next station is Van Horn. And Van Horn is about, when do I arrive at Van Horn and how much charge would I have when I would have charged 100%. Now, the good thing is I would have arrived with 43% if I would have charged 100%. Now what you have to do, connect it to the charger and see when I'm leaving, how much percent is it? So I left with 72%. So I charged up to 72% to 6 o'clock. That would mean that I'm 28% missing. So 43% I should have arrived and keep charging. And I did arrive, or I now will arrive with 28% less of 43. And that's what the case is. That was about 15%, and even a little bit lesser than that when you're driving faster. And how it looks like now, I would be arriving with 9% because I'm driving a little bit, I'm not driving 80, I'm driving 85. And that will make it sure that you don't have to charge anywhere else or anywhere in between. Now, I did have a backup because there's a supercharger in Fort Stockton, and I could quickly charge up more at that location and then keep going. Unfortunately, I arrived there with 9% instead of 43 or what it was, and that's okay, and I can continue my trip. And then in between, I should have shown you some pictures of the Great Plains of Texas here. This Supercharger in Van Horn early in the morning is all hours. There are some nice parks here, and there is also the Bighorn Mountain Park here. And yeah, all hours. Charging here 25 minutes and then keep going. So I have to catch up on what I didn't charge at night. During my drive on the Model Y, I found two things what I really like pretty good. And the first thing is how to adjust the speed. Usually I do not adjust the speed in each mileage. I adjust the speed by going in 5 increments. So, in how to do that, the easiest is, so you know that here on the right side of your steering wheel, here you are adjusted. How to do that is for 5 miles increments. If you want to reduce, you pull that down and you swipe it down. And if you increase, you swipe it up. And that's then in 5 miles increments, no matter how you swipe it. So a little tick is just 1 mile, but I go in increments of 5 miles and then I swipe it up to increase or swipe it down to decrease. That's what I like. The other thing what I like is if you're doing lane changes. So what I like there is I'm currently on the left lane. So if I want to do a lane change on Autopilot, I'm gonna operate the blinker all the way across. And when I do that, let me show you that once I passed here that truck. So what I do, I use my blinker and shift it all the way over. Not that short blinking, just tipping it on the left or right or up or down. I just move it all the way over. So then it releases basically the lane adjustments or the lane saving. So then I move over to the lane, and then when I'm at the lane, I double click and it turns the blinker off at the same time it's put it back in adjustment. Yeah, that's what I like. There in the background is El Paso, and the good thing in El Paso is when you're coming from east to west, Texas is finally over. And that is the last portion of Texas here at the almost most tip of the west of Texas. And then finally Texas is over. arrived in El Paso, everything empty, awesome, and we have a short quick stop, pit stop, and charge up to a little bit more, over 50% for the next supercharger in Deming. That's already in New Mexico. This is the last supercharger in Texas. Finally, we are leaving Texas. So that is the last Texas bridge. And here we are starting with New Mexico. Yeah, here we go. New Mexico. Here's another sign in the back from New Mexico. The land of enchantment. You see there. Alright, I lost a lot of energy because I should arrive here with 15% or a little more, 70%, and I arrived here with 7% because there is a lot of wind. You can see it in the back, there's a lot of headwind here. And it's just blowing in my face. And that's not good. And then I switched the port immediately because I was here, 4 cars here. So I was sharing the port with the blue one here next to me. And now I have my own port. He also told me the red ones are the who are left. They were the longest one here. And they just immediately left and then I switched. Yeah, that was it. And we gonna stay here. They want us to stay here for 45 minutes. Might be that we're doing it, probably not, because there's another supercharger in between us in Wilcox. We stay there. Yeah, there were a lot of motorcycles here going in opposite my direction, so there might be somewhere a meeting. And that is Banditos, New Mexico. Motorcycle gang. The Banditos have a meeting, seems like. Four of them and the support vehicle. Here comes the support vehicle with a trailer. Banditos are leaving. It is correct that Tesla calculates headwind, and I had to charge up to 93% before Tesla let me continue to drive. And the better route planner was suggesting 70%, but they do calculate also at that time. So now there is 22 miles per hour headwind, or 22 to 25 miles per hour wind against us from south-southwest, from west-southwest, and that is terrible headwind, I tell you guys. And the pictures what I'm sending in there, it is blowing here, and it's crazy. So that's why I had to charge there for a very long time. And the other people in the other direction who are standing at the supercharger, they are okay, because there was no, they are been having wind from the back. But when you have wind against you, then it's not a good idea for that you are starting with a low state of charge. So let's see what we end up with. We should end up in Wilcox now. We are gonna make a stop in Wilcox with 17%, and we have to charge there. Otherwise, there's no way we can continue easily. Okay, so more pictures. There is a lot of dust storm. Question is lane keeping at extreme wind. Is Tesla Autopilot can keep the lane at extreme wind situations? So far it looks good. We find out. Yeah, this looks good. Lane keeping is possible. Kind of quite heavy adjustments what the system has to do. But it can do it. Still gusty winds, and you see this guy, he was at the previous supercharger. So that happens a lot, that people going the same route are ending up on the same supercharger and charging. Maybe I can pass him one day, so could be a possibility. We only stay here for 20 minutes. We are arrived with 22% and charging up to 49. Yeah, let's see, depending from the wind. That's the point, and it's still windy. Quick 10-minute stop. I had a sandwich and something to drink, and now we can continue. So my last stop for the entire trip will be the new Tucson 250 kilowatt supercharger, and I can charge there enough, and I'm gonna go to Sprouts there as well. I wanna buy some yogurt. You kind of have to calculate that in your trip, what you want to do, what you're going to do. And then I will be home, and then we do the final review of everything. The wind is still gusty. It's still Let me check, probably 10-15 miles per hour, a little bit less, but it's still gusty. We are coming close to our home state. That is the last state crossing. So now we have to only drive to the state. 390 exit. My exit is 127. So you can calculate how many miles that is. Look at that dust storm, guys, in Arizona, in Bowie, just next to me. Wow. Call them dust devils. Yeah, we are done for today. 230 kilowatt charging for 25 minutes. And this is 2C. That's a little funny because now they have a single charger for each of them. You just need to find out where 2D is. Okay, we're gonna go there to Sprouts and come right back. And then we should be done. Arizona has me back, so my mountains the last couple of miles, and I will be home at that time, about 100 miles left, and then I will be home. Here we are, we finally made it, and let's come to a conclusion of the entire trip. First of all, the not comfortable thing. Between Van Horn and El Paso, I had actually 5 phantom brakes. I don't know why that piece is there, and then later between Deming and Wilcox I had 1. It's not critical anymore, but I have to admit I have to change the name of my car to, I have to change this from full self phantom braker to rare self phantom braker, because in the entire trip of, let's say, 2,200 miles or so, I only had 6 of them, and they were not so severe. 2 times I hit the button for Tesla to have a look at that, and they might figure it out. Next one, speed. With this car, actually speed and charging, if everything is working, is really not a problem. The other point is that you will be probably also now, what helped a lot is the upgrade to 85 miles per hour. So most of the trip, if I was permitted to, I drove 85 miles per hour. In Texas it's 80, and then you can drive 5 more. Sometimes it's 75, you drive 10 more, but that's about the maximum. But you will be the fastest one. You would not believe it, because there are many other vehicles are not driving that fast, or cannot drive that fast. What else? The statistics. When we come to the statistics, how much was I driving? Today, 689 miles, 247 kilowatt used, 354 watt per mile. Why so much watt per mile? That's easy to be explained, because most of the time I had wind against me. Wind from the southwest, and it was always against me, starting from Demon or even before Demon in New Mexico, and that drags on consumption. So one time I had to charge up to 93% to get 20% at the next location, where sometimes with 93% you can skip a location with regular wind calculations. The wind was 20 to 25 miles per hour against you, and that makes a big difference. Makes, on the other way, a big difference for people driving in the other direction. Yeah, sometimes you're lucky and sometimes not, but if you are feeling that you're consuming too much, check your weather app on your phone and then check if you have wind against you. And you can see it on the map if there's a case, if you have wind against you. The entire trip, if I wouldn't have Autopilot and the Autopilot assistant, you guys know what I mean, then the Autopilot assistant helped to make it really an easy drive. So the whole thing an easy drive. And even driving 11 hours a day or 11, 12 hours a day, something in that range, it was still bearable. You could have a dinner, go to bed, and starting next morning at 6 o'clock. I sometimes meet some people at the same charger, and sometimes I pass them at the same charger. Sometimes I meet people on the highway and they pass me, combustion engine trailers or whatever, and I pass them again, or semi-trucks and those. They might have lesser brakes than me, but have more brakes, I'm more relaxed, and I like to have more brakes instead of skipping chargers. Yeah, what is the entire trip? The entire trip was actually 20 miles more or so, because I visited a friend. 2,167, 718 kilowatt hours, 331 watt per miles. So that was the entire trip back. What's about the Supercharger? On the day of the Saturday, I was actually really unlucky with the Superchargers northwest and northeast of San Antonio. Maybe you should have gone back to through Austin. That would be another possibility there, but the Leon Springs Supercharger, when this is busy, it really does not bring in any output. So that was a long delay. That delayed me on one day for, let's say, 1.5 hours according to schedule. Today I was faster because I could drive also faster. I should have arrived at 4:18. It's now 3:50, and so 20 minutes earlier. And I was going through the washing as well and washed the car, at least from the outside. Yeah, that was all from our trip, from our long Supercharger stress test. It went pretty good for a big holiday weekend, and you can manage your way through that by exactly driving early in the morning or driving later at the day, and I really had not to wait today. One day I skipped a charge port was shared to a charge port what was not shared, so I can charge faster. If you like that, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, will be more stories to tell. Bye bye.